First thoughts on the new Taylor Swift album, Tortured Poets Department. So, the soundscapes, the general sound is cohesive, that's for sure, across all 31 songs. And when I say cohesive, I actually mean monotonous. And that she should probably start working with a new producer because a lot of these soundscapes that Jack Antonoff creates sometimes can sound a little bit like Lord's, second album. And melodrama, that's the word I was looking for. And they could sound a little bit melodrama-y, which, it's not a bad thing, but it's symptomatic that all of these songs sound exactly the same. Right now, the lyrics, I'm like in between of, thinking about the lyrics as extremely cringy and actually fine, because there's some good moments on the entire album, like 2 albums. But I would say that some of her lowest points, like lyrically, are her lowest points ever, I would say. And that's not a good thing because she had some lyrics that were, kind of millennial core cringy, but these new lyrics are in an all-time low for her, even though, as I said, there are some good aspects to the lyrics. There's some interesting moments for sure, but they're overshadowed by a lot of cringy moments that I cannot believe that, a brilliant songwriter, 34-year-old songwriter would leave in her songs. I think that somebody needs to help her to just sometimes rewrite lyrics because they seem a little bit clunky, and I know that the clunky, jumbled lyrics are super trendy right now because of the Olivia Rodrigo effect, but I feel like she should hire a co-writer for most of her songs, unfortunately. Point, I want to address the narrative, and the narrative is very much something that we have been seeing in her albums for I'm pretty sure 8+ years right now, which honestly I feel it's very tired. I wish that she would venture into more experimentation with the themes on her albums. And I understand the diaristic approach, but we have to ask ourselves, she was trying so hard to feed us and the media and everybody else, the public, one narrative, and now she's saying, haha, I tricked all of you. I was not having the time of my life. I was actually fucking depressed and miserable. And by the way, I'm an alcoholic and probably was in rehab, and my ex is a depressed piece of shit, and my other ex, who I was cheating on my previous ex of 6 years, is a druggie, right? And he's a sleazebag, and he did me dirty. It's I feel like the whole approach is very hypocritical. I know I'm being overly negative, but that's what we're here for, I guess. She is taking a very hypocritical approach because she's constantly talking about, hey, don't speculate on my personal life. And now what is she doing? She's doing the same shit again. She's asking us to speculate on her personal life by having these incredibly specific songs. In Folklore and Evermore, she kind of said these were fictional songs written from her perspective, which nobody really believed that they were, but it was fine. And I feel like these 2 albums were her best albums. That's her magnum opus of the entire career, and I feel like that's gonna be like that generally. 50 years from now, she's gonna be known for Folklore and Evermore, and not for this album. And in this case, I just feel like she is trying so hard to control the narrative, but at the same time she's shooting herself in the foot because the narrative kind of sucks anyway. It's boring as shit. It's boring to everybody except for those wine moms that she also took a shot at. And the whole thing about her relationships is that they generally feel fake because she makes them out to look fake. She contradicts herself a lot, and then she writes the most juvenile ass songs to describe her affair with Maddie Healy, dude who literally, as Azalea Banks said, looks like he's one shared needle from a tetanus diagnosis. And that is not good. You are 34. I understand that people are crazy in love and stuff, but it just paints you in a very bad picture. You are dragging these people that you are with. You are trying to rewrite the narratives as you please. You are trying to, criticize your fans for doing the same thing that you are doing right now, and also bringing Kim Kardashian into all of this 8 years after the fact. Like, what is up with that? Why is Kim Kardashian living rent-free in your mind? Like, can you just let that go? Like, that happened in 2016. I understand that she's petty. I get that. That's why we kind of find some appeal in her work, because of her pettiness. But I feel like there is a good amount of pettiness and a bad amount of pettiness, and this is like a high school amount of pettiness, which also leads me to believe that she desperately needs a timeout, and she desperately needs to be out of like the spotlight for a while after the Eras tour. And she also probably needs to reevaluate her life choices and maybe get therapy that's not her mom, because apparently her mom's her therapist, which is, something like a whole nother can of worms. But anyway, my point being is that the album, to me, on the first listen, and I've listened to all 31 songs, I all kind of like 2 songs at this point. There's some good ones in the Aaron Dessner portion of the album, like the bonus portion of the album. I like 2 songs that are on the main album. All in all, not a very memorable album. I know that it's going to be number 1. Everybody's going to buy it because it's Taylor Swift, not because it's necessarily good. Reviews are like raving about the album right now, but I just feel like when shit calms down in a couple of days, that we will have a better picture about how this actually should be, like the ratings. And I would say that my rating is like 65 maybe % out of 100, like 6.5 out of 10, which is a very low rating for Taylor Swift, since Folklore and Evermore are basically 10 out of 10s for me. So yeah, if you think I've been overly negative, please let me know, because I know that, and I'm purposefully being negative because I feel like somebody needs to be realistic about Taylor Swift and everything else that, she's been doing lately. But yeah, please let me know.